How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific 3 Eastern, Sundays 3 Pacific 6 Eastern, Saturday mornings with Jim Valley, 10 a.m. Pacific 1 Eastern. And yes, I am back. I'm back here on the show. Yesterday, I was gone. We went north, and we were not going to make it back on time, so I had my main man Sempervive step in. And today I shall pay back that favor, as I'm on the show here today and Sempervive has a day off. And I will be joined in the next segment by our own Lance Storm, who in fact will join us for this entire program here today. And it's Thursday on this show. You know what that means. Man, we have got a lot to talk about, including, yes, last night's AEW Dynamite. What'd you think of that show? What did you think of the footage with CM Punk and Jack Perry? What did you think of all of it? Well, we're going to talk today about what I thought of it, as well as Lance Storm. And I should add that I also have some notes about yesterday and the belief internally about where things are going from this point forward. And I think if you are an AEW fan and you were disappointed by what happened last night, didn't like it, whatever, hopefully what I have heard is true. And so we'll talk about that here today on the program. And we've also got a whole bunch of ratings notes, some notes on The Rock and how much money he got for Mania weekend, and why I think it's a pretty good chance based on all of this we're going to see Rock wrestling again, because that dude made a lot of money. And we'll also take your feedback as well. We also got the AEW pay-per-view scheduled for the rest of the year. Coming back here to Seattle. Looks like the Seattle area is going to be like an annual tradition for that Wrestle Dream show. Anyway, a lot to talk about. We'll kick it off after the break. Observer Live.
There's 1, 2. Now he's got Bryan Alvarez. He whips him into the corner hard. Adam Firestorm following up, catches a boot to the face. Bryan Alvarez with another hard shot to the head. 1, 2. This is the most aggressive I've seen Bryan Alvarez today here in Portland Wrestling. Now he's got his knee across the throat. He's choking him, LC.
Well, it's like this week Alvarez has something to prove, brother. Something to prove to his sweet little lady over there.
Of course, Adam Firestorm with a big win over Black Dragon last week. Looking for another one here. There's a sunset flip. Is he going to go down? Yes, he is. Over he goes. 1, 2, 3. It is all over. Adam Firestorm with the victory over beautiful Bryan Alvarez here in Portland Wrestling. Now out Bryan Alvarez firing away with a boot. Action continues after the bell. Goes for the back body drop. No! Face first plant by Adam Firestorm. Your winner once, looks like he'll be your winner twice. Action continues. There's a whip into the far corner. Adam Firestorm follows with a spinning kick. LC, I think Bryan Alvarez has bit off more than he could chew tonight. Miss Rent-to-Own really disgusted over in the corner. Adam Firestorm not done. There's a lion sold on top. He hooks him again. 1, 2. 2.5. I thought we had a 3 count earlier in this match, LC. I was wrong. I'm
I can't
sorry.
believe it. I thought Youth Gone Wild was just adding a little salt to the wound. I thought Alvarez was Alvarez and a 2-time loser, brother.
Well, Mark Watson's hand must have stopped just short of the 3 count. And these eyes of mine need glasses, because I thought I saw a 3 count Bryan Alvarez going up top.
Oh, we'll forget about your cataracts, brother. Up and over he goes.
Nobody home. Adam Firestorm back in control, playing a bit of possum. He's climbing up top. Is Rento-Onato really upset? There he goes. Swamp.
Oh, and that one hit.
There's a hook to leg. 1, 2, 3. Now it's all over.
A 2-time loser. And does the LC have to look after Miss Rento-Onato tonight, baby?
There's Adam Firestorm, your winner in this match. Once, twice, 3 times, it didn't matter. Bryan Alvarez not up to it. Miss Rento-Onato absolutely disgusted with it. Mark Watson explaining to him it was a 3 count this time. No hook to leg. Fair and square, Adam Firestorm, your winner here on Portland Wrestling. Fans will be right back with after a message from our sponsors.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Lance Storm is joining us here today as I dink around with this thing right here. Lance, what's going on?
Not too much. Just ready to talk Dynamite.
Well, we have to talk Dynamite here, and before we get into all of that, we should talk about the important thing, Lance, and that is your health. How you feeling?
Feeling a lot better. Doctor put me on prednisone for 5 days to see if it can help my breathing issues, and it certainly seems to have helped. So I'm sleeping and feeling 1,000 times better.
Excellent news. So now what's next? I mean, you can't be on prednisone forever.
Well, the hope is that the prednisone will knock down whatever's bothering my nasal passages bad enough that we can maintain afterwards without it. So we'll see.
All right. Well, good luck, Lance. I know it's been rough.
Thank you.
Trust me.
It has been, man.
I've heard about it. All right, everybody. Let's talk about last night. Shall I start, Lance, or would you like to begin?
Go ahead.
All right. So here's the deal, everybody. I watched the footage, okay? And, many times something's coming. It's my job to analyze, predict, whatever, okay? And a lot of times, something will, I'll make some prediction or something like that. And sometimes I'm like, wow, I was not expecting that, but that is actually better than I expected, okay? And then there are other times where I make some predictions, I make some whatever, and then the thing happens and I'm like, that's exactly what I was thinking going in. And this is what I thought about last night. I honestly have absolutely no idea why they aired that footage. I cannot for the life of me figure it out. Because the thing is, CM Punk had his side of the story that he gave on Ariel Helwani's show. And apparently Tony was furious and decided that he was going to air the footage. Okay? So, knowing that, I figured, okay, well, in some way this footage has to make, CM Punk look very bad. And it was the footage that got him fired, by the way. And so I had the other question, though, which is the people that are showing this footage in storyline are going to be the Young Bucks. They're heels. And, this involves Jack Perry, who is currently working as a heel, and he's got this big shirt that says Scapegoat on it. And then also, how's it going to be handled, this whole deal where Tony Khan said that he felt like his life was in danger. These are the things that we're going to have to figure out when they air this footage. Now, the one thing, I will say they did this because I didn't know how they were going to do this. I was baffled when I was told that this was going to play into a storyline leading to the pay-per-view. I thought, how? Okay? Now, whether you like how they did it or not, the fact is they did try, and the storyline was the Young Bucks were getting ready for their match with FTR at Wembley. This incident happened in the back before the match. They had to put on their EVP caps, go handle the situation. They were totally out of wrestler mode. They got it all handled, and then they had to go to the ring all flustered or whatever, and they lost to FTR. And this time, that's not going to happen. That's the story they told. Okay, fine. They tried to do something to turn it into a pay-per-view angle. But it was obvious watching the video that CM Punk was the aggressor, okay? Jack Perry did not aggressively approach him. CM Punk went right up to the guy, and they had a long conversation. And, there's all these other people around, and I don't know what was said in the confrontation, but, all the people surrounding them, I mean, they clearly heard that something was going on, but they didn't appear like, oh, my God, we got to break this up before it escalates. Just, they had some sort of confrontation. We have no idea what they said because there was no audio. And then, whatever Jack Perry said, whether it's what are you going to do about it or whatever, Punk, boom, shoved him once, boom, shoved him twice. Jack Perry comes forward, Punk grabs his head. Was it a choke? Was it a front face lock? We don't know because we couldn't see it. And then, there was no moment where, Samoa Joe politely asked Punk to let go and Punk let go. Joe rushed in there and, man, he tore these dudes apart. The entire thing from the first shove to them being torn apart was less than 6 seconds. The actual front headlock choke, whatever it was, less than 4 seconds. I mean, it was boom, immediately broken up. In the melee, some monitors, we heard that monitors went flying. They didn't go flying, but there were monitors that were knocked around and people were trying to fix the monitors. Punk's, rear end banged into them and they started falling all over the place. And then when they were broken up, you could see, I think, Tony Khan's hand and like part of his face trying to get him away from the monitors. And then Chris Hero comes from behind the monitors to help break them up. And boy, did that guy look miserable. And then Punk does, go straight towards Tony Khan. And Chris Hero got between him and Tony Khan. And Punk was not getting past Chris Hero. And then he was dragged away, and away they went. And when it was over, I mean, I thought, this Punk did look somewhat crazed, but, he was immediately held back. I don't know how Tony felt that his life was in danger. So, having seen that, I don't know why he aired the footage. And then, number two, it's like, Jack Perry, whatever he said verbally, physically, he did not do anything. He did not do anything. He did not go after CM Punk. He did not, he was attacked in this segment. And, having watched the video and knowing that, dude's been gone for 7 months. 7 months he has been gone because of this. And, when the Young Bucks are there and Matt's got his scapegoat shirt on, it's like, yeah, the guy comes off as a scapegoat. Are you supposed to be a heel? They've already apparently completely sold out of scapegoat t-shirts. So, how this is making him a heel, I have no earthly idea. The Young Bucks ran in, and they got CM Punk chants, which, my God, if that's going to be a thing in AEW where every week we have to hear CM Punk chants, I mean, that's, to me, a disaster. And, that's kind of my thoughts on everything. They spent all this time angry at somebody in WWE. They went immediately to Will Ospreay, cutting a promo on Triple H. As a viewer, I'm sitting there for 20 minutes watching Tony Khan get what he feels is his revenge on WWE, on an AEW show, and I am just begging for them to move on. So I guess before we talk more, Lance, your thoughts on what we saw last night.
I didn't mind it as much as you did. I think because I looked at it more as I'm just a wrestling viewer. I haven't followed as much of the backstage BS as you have. So it's like, it ended up being far better than I expected. I expected it to be pretty bad, but it's like, it came off like the Young Bucks coming up with a lame excuse on why they lost their match. And I thought Matt saying, we're going to air the footage, but, it's really just like some high school garbage, and it really isn't much, which I thought was good to downplay it because it did come off as very high school. One guy shoved the other guy. One guy charged at him to take him down, and they were broken up. It's like, yeah, that's the level of fight you see in high school, because I've seen far better backstage fights than this one. So it was just, they showed some footage that really didn't amount to anything, tried to turn it into an angle. Now, I do think a good quality video package would have made me more interested in the Bucks FTR match, but it wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. You say Jungle Boy is a heel. He may be in New Japan, but he hasn't been established that in AEW. I think he's got to come back as a babyface because he came off like a scapegoat. It's like, this guy was gone for that. It's like he was fixing his hair. A guy shoved him. He tried to take him down. The takedown got stuffed, probably partially because Punk hit the desk, and it was broken up. It's like, I've seen way worse.
All right, we'll talk about this more after the break. Observer Live.
Toni Storm, joined by Mariah May and Luther.
The panic is over, I'm here.
Hello, beautiful.
Great to see you.
Mr. Khan.
Great to see you,
I'm
Jim.
getting all tangled. I can't do this. Luther. Luther,
You all right?
I'm stuck.
This is great. It's perfect. Fantastic. I know.
It is so nice to see you.
It's great to see you, champ.
So proud of you.
Thank you. I'm so proud of you.
Can't remember the reason why, but I am.
Thank you.
Yes.
Congratulations.
You know what? We should start these a little later and go on even longer.
Oh.
And that way we can all have breakfast.
That's great. Sounds great. I have an 8 a.m. in Palm Beach, so it's gonna be a long one, but we're good.
Toni Storm, congratulations on retaining your title tonight. How are you feeling after this match with Deonna Purrazzo?
Shit, Renee, if you must know. But let's get to the important business. So, since all your questions often amount to a fair amount of yellow communist journalism, I've prepared a statement of my own. That way you won't have to announce which website you work for as like a point of pride, so... Excuse me. Good evening. I am still your AEW Women's World Champion. But I couldn't have done it without the following people. Thank you to the city of Greensboro for keeping the riffraff out of the hotel lobby. Best wishes and happy retirement to Sting. Seems like just yesterday we started on this journey together. Feel free to use my summer house in Martha's Vineyard. I would like to thank my protege, Mariah May, for capturing the unpolished beauty of my youth. I see something in you. I don't know what it is, but I do. I am giving you full access to my old storage unit. Help yourself. And of course, to my trusted servant Luther. Yes, I'll have a salmon nori roll, carbonated water, and Pepto-Bismol. Chop, chop. Thank you, dear. Thank you to official Aubrey Edwards for making the right decision. But next time, please wear milder perfume, if you could. I have a bit of a headache. I would like to thank the commentators, Mr. Tasmaniac and Sean Excalibur Mooney, for their usual East Coast, West Coast analytical banter. And the utmost respect for my opponent and former friend Deonna Purrazzo. A great showing. A great showing. You took me to the limit. You brought out the best in me, and blah, 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 blah. I hope you go back to Impact. I tell you what, my arms are killing me. I don't know how I'm going to do my usual debauchery tonight. I am going to have to open that gift bag that Karen Jarrett got for me. If you understand what I mean.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive not here today. Lance is joining us. And during the break, there were some comments in the chat, so I'll address a few of those. First off, yeah, I mean, like I said, as far as like turning it into a storyline, I mean, I don't know if they could have done anything better because I couldn't conceive of anything working. But the Young Bucks using that as a heel excuse for why they lost, they were busy dealing with something else because they are EVPs, and then you know, Dax and Cash coming out, they're doing their promo about can we get over this and everything. I mean, it was I think the best they could have done. So I don't really have anything. Listen, if they decided they were going to show it, then I don't have a problem with what they ended up doing with it. Okay. Now the other thing is, well, what is going on with Jack Perry? And, you know, people have mentioned he's not actually suspended right now, which is the case, okay? So we talked about this a while ago. What happened with Jack is that the thing happened, and then he got sent home. And this was in, like, late August, early September. I forget when the show was. I think the very end of August, but... he just, I believe no communication whatsoever. It's the same thing in all of these suspensions. When something happens, there's an investigation, there's like no communication whatsoever. And so he was gone, and he would have been suspended for at least 2 months because there was no discussion of bringing him back until November. And around November, there was an idea in motion to bring him back, but CM Punk showed up at Survivor Series, and Tony scrapped the idea. Now, why? I don't know, but he did. As soon as CM Punk came back to WWE, he scrapped the idea of the return of Jungle Boy. So, which, by the way, if the reason is he wanted to avoid CM Punk chants, that's quite ironic today. But anyway, so he, no plans for return. And that's when, Jack and Rocky Romero and Tony Khan, it's not supposed to be like a shoot, but they eventually all got together and set up Jack's run in New Japan, because the fact is, Tony wasn't planning on using him. So he wasn't suspended the entire time, but until very recently, there have been no plans to bring him back. Now, obviously, probably in the last 2-3 weeks, you can see things that Jack has been doing. You can see things that Young Bucks have been doing. You saw this whole thing there. I mean, my guess is, I know you think otherwise, Lance, but I think that Jack Perry is returning at the pay-per-view, and he's going to help screw FTR. Young Bucks are going to win the tag team titles, and they will be a heel trio. That's where I think they're going here. But that is the update on what's going on with Jack Perry and his status with AEW.
All right, I would rather see him be the third to FTR, because he's a scapegoat because the Office treated him poorly, and the Bucks are the Office. And they already have Okada for their trio. They don't need another one.
I suppose it's possible he could return, and the Bucks think he's going to be helping them, and then he helps FTR. You could definitely do that, but we shall see. So anyway, that's the story of the footage and the whole shebang, and yeah, that's what they did. I will say this, because I talked to a lot of people last night, okay, in AEW. And by the way, this was it's going to be interesting to see the rating, because this was viewed by a lot of people. I heard from people in WWE that everybody was talking about it, which obviously they would because CM Punk was involved, and everybody in AEW was talking about it. Now, did they actually watch it on television? Did they see it on Twitter? I mean, the first place I saw it was Twitter, but I mean, I watch on a delay. But it's not like you couldn't find it on social media yesterday. It was everywhere. They did try all night to try to take it down, but I mean, I saw it everywhere on social media. So the feeling that I heard from the people in AEW is, going in, I don't want to say everybody, and obviously I didn't talk to everybody or even nearly everybody, but people talk. And in general, I mean, the vast majority were like, why are we doing this? I can't believe we're going to show this. Why? Very upset, disappointed. Is this ship sinking? What are we doing here? So the footage aired. I heard a lot of the same. I can't believe that this was aired. I can't believe blah, blah, blah. But I did hear this, and that is that, this is not from Tony Khan, but this is what people have said regarding Tony. They believe that he has now gotten this out of his system, and he is ready to just move on, look past it. It's done. I showed my footage. He wanted to show this footage months and months and months ago. But for whatever reason, whether he decided that it was a bad idea or somebody talked him out of it, he didn't. But allegedly, he is saying, it's done. We're moving on. The footage is aired. Let's just move on with this. And for what it's worth, I have heard from a lot of people that did not want to see it aired. They were disappointed that it aired, but they were like, you know what? This has got to be rock bottom. It's time to move on. It's time to get out of this mode, go back to doing AEW, concentrate on ourselves. That is the feeling. Now, whether that is the case, whether, next Wednesday on Dynamite we have another wacky thing or whatever, I don't know. But that is what I heard from people there today. Universally the feeling is, we did it, it's over, and let's move on.
Let's hope, because on the whole, it was a pretty good show.
Now, I know you want to talk about this Dustin match with Joe, which I very much liked, by the way. I thought the opening match And I thought the main event were both like excellent matches. You know, Adam Copeland, Edge versus Pentagon. Never thought I'd see it, but that was a very good match. And then the main event with Dustin and Samoa Joe was very good. But it was non-title, and I don't want to go on this rant, so I'll let you do it.
Yeah, I liked the starting of the show with Swerve jumping Joe and giving the show a bit of a, oh shit, we're on the edge of our seat.
Can't say that on Byline, brother.
Yeah, I know. I apologize. But I think it would have been so much better if it was a title match. Because then there is the Swerve jumps Joe. He's not only mad at Joe, but mad that he's putting the title on the line before the pay-per-view. Which is why, so he took out Joe hoping that he couldn't defend the title here because he wants his title shot. And then you've got the suspense of, will Joe be able to fight and have this match? They say Joe's going to continue, and you have the announcers play up the drama of Swerve really screwed up here because Joe's not 100%. Dustin might beat him now. And if he does, Swerve misses out on his title shot at the pay-per-view. So then you can hype that the whole match. You can show Joe in damaged condition. And you build this main event that now has even more possibility, because there wasn't much before, that Dustin could win because Swerve screwed up and injured Joe. And I think you would have had so much more drama. You could have, throughout the show, checked on Joe to see what kind of state he's in. And I think you could have made the match even more interesting. And then, again, you still have Joe go over. And then you do the angle at the end with Swerve. So you're right back where you ended up. But I think you could have created more drama and a little bit of doubt that, darn, maybe Dustin's going to pull this off because Swerve hurt Joe. Would have been so much better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I said going in it should be a title match, and it'll be 30 seconds, guys, and we'll move on. I hate these stupid rankings. All of these decisions they make, if there are no rankings, I don't care, okay? But the fact that there are rankings, and we've got a situation where we can't give Dustin a title shot because he's not the number one contender or whatever. But, Layla Hirsch, who's had no matches on AEW in over 2 years, she's getting a title match on Friday. And Mercedes Moné, who's never even been in the company ever, is just gifted a title shot coming up at the pay-per-view in a segment that was built around rankings and the number one contendership. If you just got rid of the rankings, I don't care. It doesn't matter what you do if you have no rankings. Adding the rankings has made all of this make no sense. So anyway, I'm done. I know people hate it.
Not to mention the Cope opened and they just randomly give anybody who comes out a title shot.
Yeah, there is that. But hey, at least it's like, that's his gimmick. He's willing to give anybody a championship match. So, okay, that doesn't bother me as much. AEW did announce the upcoming schedule. These are all the pay-per-views and locations from now until the end of the year. Dynamite will be in St. Louis, Missouri, or Dynasty on April 21st. We know that one. May 26th, as we are all well aware, Double or Nothing at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. Forbidden Door will be the UBS Arena in Elmont, New York. All In at Wembley will be August 25th. We knew that one. All Out will be September 1st, Hoffman Estate, so they're doing back-to-back weekends again. Wrestle Dream, October 12th in the Tacoma Dome. God, I got to go to Tacoma. We got Full Gear at the Prudential Center November 23rd in New Jersey. And then we have got World's End December 28th in Orlando, Florida at the Edition Financial Arena. So if you want to go to an AEW pay-per-view, that is the lineup. And hey, listen, guys, whatever you want to say about AEW and the booking and Dynamite, you're not going to have a bad time at a pay-per-view. Back in a moment, Observer Live.
No fish can swim this far upshore.
Yeah.
Shoulders ran like the wind, but he could find no peace.
Back on the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Lance Storm joining us here today. We got a lot to talk about. Hey, I want to mention that we talked about Double or Nothing, and in fact, we're all going to Vegas for Double or Nothing. It is the annual F4W Observer Convention, and you should go if you were listening to this right now, because it's going to be a very, very fun time. We've been doing this since 2006, based around various things. It used to be UFC, now AEW, and may have done a couple of WWE, but I think it's mostly been UFC and AEW because they run Vegas at the same time every year, or at least UFC used to. And we're going to have a big, fun excursion. A lot of things going on. We've got a all-you-can-eat dinner at Texas de Brazil, which is a Brazilian steakhouse, and it is great. We have a meet and greet and a live Bryan and Vinny show. Not a Q&A so much. We're going to do a live Bryan and Vinny show. And you can, of course, ask questions as well. Probably more like a granny segment than anything else. But maybe we'll do some reviews or something fun. But a live Bryan and Vinny show. And there's also a live wrestling show that Ed in San Antonio is promoting. We have a sweet party. We'll have details to come on that. Annual brunch at the Wicked Spoon. And you can buy tickets for all of these things by going to f4wonline.com/Vegas. That is f4wonline.com/Vegas. And we're thinking of some, hey, look at that on the video here. There's a big graphic right there. And join us for these things. I got some special ideas for the Bryan and Vinny live show. So if you don't have tickets to that, I would grab them while you can, because we might be making an interesting change. So grab your tickets before they're gone. Live Bryan and Vinny show, meet and greet, and plenty more. f4wonline.com/Vegas. Make sure you check that out. So, a couple of notes from WrestleMania, which I want to tie into everything we've been talking about here today. So, The Rock, after his match Saturday night, his tag match, it was reported in an SEC filing that he was given 97,000 shares of TKO stock worth $9 million. So he now has 193,000 116 shares. This was part of his deal to join the board, and that's a lot of money for a match if you look at it from the perspective of, I did a match and I got $9 million. Thing with Rock is he is a gigantic worldwide movie star, maybe the biggest on earth, and he can make a lot of money doing movies. So if you want him to do a WrestleMania match, if you want him to do a WrestleMania next year with Cody, the year after with Roman Reigns, or however they end up doing it, you got to pay this dude. And this is an interesting way to do it by giving him stock worth X amount of money. So anyway, he made a lot of money for that. And of course, the Raw number, which I'm sure Mike mentioned yesterday, I mean, that Raw show on Monday night, oh my God. The show did 2.36 million viewers, a 0.83 in 18 to 49. They have not done a number like that since pre-pandemic. You have to go back 5 years when way more people were watching television than are nowadays to get a 0.83 in 18 to 49. WrestleNomics had the quarters. The Rock Cody Rhodes promo segment did 3 million viewers, a 1.04 in 18 to 49, and in quarter 3 did 3.2 million viewers and a 1.11 in 18 to 49. This was on a night where there was a basketball game that aired across TBS, TNT, and True TV, which did 14.8 million viewers and a 3.88 in 18 to 49. So doing the number that Raw did on that night with that competition is pretty much, it's inconceivable, I would say. And then, of course, NXT on Tuesday did well. 647,000 viewers and a .20, which is an excellent demo, which actually is only, that was actually very close to Dynamite the last 2 weeks, that .20. And anyway, the point is, as we can all see, the company is on fire. And so one of the things we were talking about yesterday in terms of AEW is they're not beating WWE right now. There's no chance. The gap is, I mean, they're so far apart. And why try? What you need to do is concentrate on AEW. And if you want to compare, whatever, don't be, okay, we want to equal or beat Raw. What you should be looking at is, can we equal or beat what we did last year? Can we beat our own numbers? That's what I think that they should be doing. And I think it's time to ignore WWE, do your own thing. Boom, away you go. You're competing with yourself, not a company that right now is in the stratosphere.
Yeah, I think I said it yesterday on Threads, because I'm not a participant on Twitter. You yield the most fruit when you tend your own garden. And I think that's a good plan. Grow your own business and don't worry about the farm next door.
What did you watch this week, Lance?
I watched, I've already watched the Impact show that airs tonight, which is tremendous. And I watched Dynamite last night and this morning.
And you watched no Raw, no WrestleMania, none of the matches?
I did not know. I was still suffering my breathing and sleep tiredness. Things got better Tuesday night for me, so I did very little otherwise. Started reading a good book.
What's that book?
It's Rusty Puppy. It's one of the Happen Leonard books by Joe R. Lansdale. It was a TV series on HBO or something briefly.
Well, I want to mention the upcoming lineup so we can talk more about Dynamite. So they've announced this coming Friday on SmackDown. We'll have appearances from Cody Rhodes and Bayley, so SmackDown should do a huge number. We have got a 3-hour block of AEW on Saturday night because it is Collision followed by Battle of the Belts 10. And Collision has Toni Storm and Izumi in a title eliminator match. So if Izumi wins, she gets a title shot. And keep in mind they have a pay-per-view next week where Tony's putting the title on the line. We have Bryan Danielson and Claudio versus Hobbs and Fletcher. And then for Battle of the Belts, which is a 1-hour television show called Battle of the Belts, Hook is defending the FTW title, which, like, in storyline is not even recognized by AEW, against Shane Taylor. And the other match is Roderick Strong and Rocky Romero in a non-title match on Battle of the Belts, a title eliminator. So, I've been watching these Battle of the Belts for 10 of them now, and it's always like, we need to have, like, a title change, make people want to watch Battle of the Belts, do something.
How about a title match?
And we're now down to an unrecognized title and a non-title match as your 2 matches announced thus far for Battle of the Belts. So there is that. And then Raw Monday
Hasn't Roddy been doing the hometown open challenge where he actually defends the title against nobodies, but Rocky's not worthy?
Yeah, that is what they're doing. Then we've got Raw in Montreal, Sami Zayn, Chad Gable for the Intercontinental title. And my guess is that Sami beats him, and so Sami gets a win in his hometown, but then they will do the heat and have Bronson Reed kill Sami, and he'll be the next title challenger. And Andrade faces Dominic Mysterio. And then for NXT, they advertised a lot, and one of them I thought was very clever. So Trick comes out. Well, first off, we had Axiom and Nathan Frazier winning the tag title. So Braun Breaker's going up to the main roster. He's done. And maybe Baron as well. I don't know what's up with Baron. But Carmelo Hayes returned. Basically, Trick Williams came out and he wants a title shot against Ilya. Ilya told him no. Trick goes, what do I got to do to get a title shot? Ilya says, you're going to have to take the biggest risk of your life, the biggest gamble. I will face you in 2 weeks at Spring Break-In. If you lose, you must leave NXT. And I thought that was very clever because, everybody has been talking about, are they going to call up Trick Williams? I don't think they should, but it is absolutely something that has been talked about ever since that SmackDown show where he showed up on SmackDown and all of these fans in this building are chanting, whoop that Trick. So the office saw that and they were like, whoa, this dude's over. And these fans at SmackDown know the gimmick. So is he leaving? Is he winning the title? Is Ilya leaving? I mean, we know that Ilya is declared for the draft, so he appears to be leaving. So my guess is Trick does win the title and stays. But adding the you must leave if you lose does make it interesting. And they added that next week on NXT, it is Trick versus Carmelo in a cage match. They're doing the stip next week! So that's that. All right.
Yeah, and the week after that, they're doing the match where Trick will either be the champion or he'll be doing a job before he gets called up, which was the defense of why he wasn't getting a title shot at Stand and Deliver in the first place.
Exactly. All right, other thoughts from Dynamite, Adam Copeland, Penta. I thought that was a very good match.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. And I thought it was refreshing to see Adam break out some different stuff, so we're not just seeing the hits from the older guys. We're seeing some new stuff. So I really enjoyed it. Thought it was fun.
I do like, this comparison has been made before, but I do like seeing guys like Sting and Adam Copeland essentially going out there and being Terry Funk. Because, like, if you look at Randy Orton, okay, I love Randy Orton. I think he's awesome. I have been loving his matches to death of late. But he's doing his 2002 Randy Orton. He's just always going to do that. And in his case, I actually like it because one guy working that style on the rest of the show where everyone's doing all the craziness, I mean, I love it. But Edge, Adam Copeland is not being Edge. He's not going out there and doing his 2012 gimmick and matches. And Sting certainly was not. I mean, they're going out there and they're trying to hang. And Copeland doing tilt-a-whirl head scissors. I mean, his head, the first head scissors he did was a head scissors from the 70s, but nobody does it. I mean, he was trying to do like a lucha match out there with Penta. So I liked it. I liked it a lot. And then they set up a bunch of other matches for Dynasty and next week. Next week it is Willow and Adam Copeland versus Brody and Julia Hart. And for reasons I cannot explain, I shouldn't even say this because people are going to get mad, but like unless the reason is Malachi will not do a job, I have no idea why it's not Malachi versus Adam Copeland at the Dynasty show. It's a random 6-man tag. We could have that on Dynamite. Like this should be a championship match on the show, but for whatever reason, they're not doing that singles match, and I cannot explain it. We also have we had the segment with Hook and Jericho and Shibata, which led to the 6-man, which was Hook, Jericho, and Shibata versus Moriarty, Taylor, and Ogogo, and they pinned Shibata in this match. And I guess we'll talk about it after the break because I want to get Lance's thoughts on Jericho. Back in a moment, Observer Live.
And to you, Mr. Khan, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Khan.
You're welcome.
Thank you for believing in someone who left a guaranteed spotlight for something new. Someone who isn't always perfect, isn't always kind, but who is always determined to do her best. Renee Paquette.
Thank you.
And as for what's next, Anthony, come on. Let's spoil your little surprise. Come on. I'm sick of alluding to her. Come on. I am sick of the cryptic hints, aren't we all? I don't care if it's a big business. I don't care if it's next week. Wendy Richter? I am going to fuck you up. And to anyone else who wants my title, you can fuck off. There's a ranking system now and you can bloody well use it. All right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Any questions from the media? Tread lightly.
And make it quick because if I don't leave soon, there's going to be piss all over the seat. So, if you could.
Lyrics on SNME Radio, you talked about the ranking system for your title. How do you feel about your protege's current ranking on those rankings, Mariah May?
I think she's doing just fine. She's doing great. I'm very proud. Doing a great job, but she's not quite ready. So let's not confuse her with those kinds of questions. Okay. Anyone else?
Questions?
Hi, Toni. So, as you alluded to before, Mariah May is obviously dressed as an older version of your character. So, was that your idea? Was that her idea?
Ideas. I said, didn't I? I said to Deanna I would give her the old Toni Storm and so much more. And here it is. Look at her. Look at her. Fantastic. Anyone else?
Ideas come from so many places.
Yes.
Tony Stumeyer from Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Have you talked to Susan Tex Green lately?
No. Next question. I believe we're done here this evening.
Well, thank you, champ.
Are we ready to get fucked up or what? Huh?
I wish. Thanks, champ.
Thank you, sir. Come here, bring it in, big man. I love you. I love you. You're doing a fantastic job. In 6 to 8 years, you're going to really blossom. Thank you, darlings.
Thanks, champ.
Be good.
Thank you very much.
Stay safe.
To mention regarding the Jericho segment that I don't know if it's because there have been some boos for Jericho lately, but when they started this thing with Hook, Like, the whole thing was, Hook knew who he was. Jericho claimed we're going to be on the same page here. And they were really, you don't know. Is Jericho going to, be a babyface here and help this guy? Is he going to turn on him at some point? Like, what's going to happen? And, like, all of a sudden last night, it was like we skipped forward a month, and Jericho is fully a heel. Like, they're not even being subtle about it. You need to sit under the learning tree of Chris Jericho. You do what I say. I was like, man, that was abrupt.
Yeah, it felt like they skipped about 2 months of stuff.
That was bizarre.
It was, yeah, although one thing I will give them credit for, we've complained a lot about predictable matchups. I would have predicted Jericho side won this thing, so it was nice to have the team I didn't expect to win. Yeah,
because, there are a lot of matches in AEW where you always know who is going to win. And I do like every now and then we actually get something where we were surprised. I was not expecting Lee Moriarty to pin Shibata in this match, but that is what happened. Well, listen, everybody, we got to wrap this show up for today. But tonight, it's the Bryan and Vinny show, and Vinny and I have a full hour and a half to talk AEW and NXT. That is for subscribers at WrestlingObserver.com, video.f4wonline.com as well, and we'll be back tomorrow with more. Thanks, Lance. Mike, as always, callers and listeners, everyone in the studio. We'll talk to you next time, Wrestling Observer Live.